Today is 4/7 of you. The last few harvest days, so there is no downturn, Well, let's show you the harvest scene. But the data, yeah. I have the harvest statistics, guys. About the harvest in the previous experiment, it was not high. On average, it's 3 to 4 pounds. You're the reason why the output is so low. You have also seen the last few videos. I'm sure you also know that I collect. The plan is to be around the 50th day compared to the opening day. Well, at an age like that. It's old. It's about 5 litters. It's like this big cage. I have to harvest this big cage to 90 egg trays. So these 2 big barns are what we harvest. There are 90 egg trays, and so are these little cages. It's all about 50 days old. Did it happen? That's a lot of deaths. And the output. If you're about 40 days old. If he's 42 days old, he's going to be very lucky. I think if you guys into the range of days, it will be more stable. That's a lot of output. That's why last year I had to collect. It's so slow because I owe you a lot of evidence. Many of you are patrons. If it is a new guest, I can refuse, but because of the patrons, without having, for the guests, it is time to keep it. I have to be high. Birth a measure of output. However, I am still There's a preliminary assessment. The first is health. In the process of growing, I see. It's okay. Compared to vegetable feeding, its stability is high. Lots of vegetables, you know. I can't measure the amount of food they eat. Every day there is. I give some vegetables every day. Some days I give a lot of vegetables. 2. Some days there are no vegetables. If it's raining or something, then we will. The amount of food that's put into it is 7. And 4. That we're adding fiber directly to. Oh, for him? It will them. We're going to measure the exact amount of food. How to put it in every day. And I see that. The health of the crickets is developing very well. As for the speed of growth, we measure it. Will be slightly slower than the growth rate. When I choose to eat vegetables, it's going to be about 2 or 3 days slower. 2 days, friends. Oh yeah? Some of the things I think need to be fixed in vegetable litter. No, there's no vegetables. The first one is about plumbing. Then we're going to have to allocate it more. Then, the same goes for the gutter problem. When I was a kid, I had to use some kind of food. And when the crickets grow up, we'll use about 15. At 20 days old, we started using a plastic tray. Plastic tray, it will avoid loss of bran. Otherwise, it will lose a lot of weight. Well, I started today. Release your new litter. It's just blooming like this cage is blooming June 29th. June 29th means this egg is dated. On May 19th, you were 19/5. The egg here is very thick. The last test batch, I dropped it very quickly. It's not thick, guys, but it's also very successful on milk crickets. Only when the eggs are harvested. It's lost output. Do I collect it? I took the egg and it was too long. In this case, I'm testing a model. Keep testing. This camp was born to test you. I'm going to experiment with the type. This new blister. So you see this new way of packing. That I'm learning from a guy in the Northwest. He showed me. In this case, a preliminary assessment. Well, the advantage is that it's going to be a lot of space. Make it easier as you can see. More living space for easier, and the second one is, we won't have to break the blister. Missed about. In terms of the attrition rate after each litter, it's going to go down. The downside is that this is quite expensive for you. Because like this break, well, you see it's going to. For example, this line is only about degrees. It costs about a degree, 30 blister only, but to run this one road. But with this folding blister, it's probably twice that. So the amount of blister we put in the cage, it will be more. But what that means is that it's a space for the crickets to grow. It will live, it will also be better. This one is 5 days old today, so I'll put it on the blister. Always this high, guys. The first floor is the folding floor. The second floor is high. This always. The height from the face is 45 centimeters. Can it still climb? It's not that, guys. Well, that's because the eggs I dropped this time are very thick, so I will. It's early from the cricket stage. Small crickets. Something that comes up this early. We're going to have to reallocate the feeding trough and the water trough. It makes sense, guys, because when the cricket comes up here without a feeding trough up here, some of them will eat less, or it won't be eaten. It's going to slow down. Then it's going to make our cricket. Yes, and sometimes it is. If it's stunted, it dies again, and it loses output. Over here, this cage will bloom later, blooming after a day 30/7. It's also extremely thick. I'm going to put all these cages on the grill today. This cage is smaller. I haven't fed you in the morning. I'm soaking bran and cutting bananas. Here is this banana. Here are the bananas, guys. Instead of feeding pumpkins, I'll use bananas to replenish water for it. Because the pumpkin admits it's going to be really good, very good for cricket, because outside of the country, it adds other types. Okay. The protein content in it is quite high. Starch all kinds of things. However, well, the first one is the price of pumpkin, and the second one is high. I have no control over the source of the pumpkin. It's not a clean pumpkin. It's a pumpkin. There's a lot of drugs that unfortunately he eats. The pumpkin plots that people is about to harvest, that people spray, it's drugged a lot of things. Then the crickets you eat into it are also very dangerous. Previously, I've seen kids like that before. Finished eating the pumpkin. A few days later, it's a lot. This time I will test release. It's very thick, guys, you see this? Try this one. Let's talk about the technology of feeding. If you mix it, it has been successful. However, this time I will try another one. That's the new blister way. Plus the stocking of shoes. Food distribution drinking trough. It will also be thicker. Here you are. Every cage is very thick. It's all here, me. Well, we've got all the varieties. Is it still there? The cage in Kia and the cage in the corner there are two. I am a. Give it birth. Give birth to today and tomorrow too. The harvest is done. Let's put the eggs in because the eggs are about to hatch. There's a lot about this cold camp. You and your friends are asking for advice. As for advice, I don't dare. Advice because it's still in testing, and I set the testing period to 6 months, but now it's new, just over 2 months, you 2.5. So there's going to be a lot of statistics that I haven't been able to gather in the most precise way, maybe. So the thing about sharing at the moment is that it's, well, it doesn't make sense. But some of what I found was this. Well, it's a completely closed cold camp. It's like a pig farm with a chicken farm. It's okay, but the investment cost will be very high. Instead of that, we can make a camp. It's both open and cold. Why do I have to do that? The first one is, we'll save the investment cost. You guys, that's the second one. About the A. Save on electricity too. When at times it's cool. Like today, you can see it's not sunny outside. This is with me today, it's going to rain. If it's cool without the sun, we can be open. Open the door or we will. If you are, we use the canvas to cover around, we pull the canvas. You don't have to turn on the fan. It still guarantees the temperature factor for the cricket. Is that still? At times when the sun is unusually hot. There are days when it's about 9. Maybe 40 degrees, then we'll close it and we'll start. Let the fan system work. Then, the cold run. I think we should do it that way. It will be more compact. In the winter, the current system is. I was just thinking about using a light bulb. The rest I don't have either. It's because it's not until November. At the end of November it started to get cold. Then I will share again. I am currently sharing how to deal with heat. For you, this is a cricket cage. That time I released. Later generations you are. It's about 20 days old now. It's starting on the bird's crickets. This is a bird cricket and it is also very regular. This one I will. Today I will replace the manger. I'm going to take this trough over here. You take the trough. This plastic gutter trough through. So, I'll have one the next day. Video sharing. Why should we use plastic trays and how to use it rationally? That's a plastic tray. There must also be a way for us to let him come up and eat your things. With the placement again we have to. You have to optimize that for it to work. And if not, put it in and spread the food without it. The adjustments are in the. It's a bridge issue or something. It's not going to work. On the contrary, it also makes the crickets difficult. Again. And in today's video, I want to share a little. That's it. The day after. Tomorrow the day after. I didn't promise but I will try. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. I'm going to go down and make a video. It's about laying pipes and showing them to you. This is how a. Let me give you a drink of water. Crickets with me. I didn't spray a drop of water, you guys. Just in case there's moisture in the barn. It's fine to spray, no problem, but in places where it's hot. If it's hot, you should spray it. Just like me these days, it's also humid. It gets even more musty when you spray on it. It is not absolutely not recommended to spray. Do you want to spray or not? It will depend on the weather. In every region, every place. Too. Put some bananas in it. Cow up and eat right away. This banana. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about mold. Like pumpkin, it's still moldy. And this banana is just wilting. It's dying, guys. Hey. Then focus on the umbrella. This is my friend. It's gone. When the time comes to harvest, let's move out. It doesn't have to be picking out cassava leaves or many times that mold. I have to pick it up. Here, just let it dry. When I harvest, I will pick it up. It doesn't affect anything. No effort. We will have to. It takes a lot of time to pick up one by one. Here you look at this A. This new style of diaper folding, it's very normal to climb. That's how it looks in this space. How many times faster than something like this? The level of efficiency is through. The sharing of. If you live in the Northwest, this is how it works. Achieve more output. I can't even say that I want to be. Raise it yourself and it will produce. At that time I shared millets and videos today. Please allow me to stop here. Who wants a? Ask. Do you have any questions or concerns? Then leave a comment. I will share with you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next videos.